Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thrillcat Cinema Lab. Again, we're going through and we're talking to a lot of the big players who will be at CEDIA in the next month or so in Denver. If you're there, these are the people you're going to want to check out. These are the people you're going to want to make sure you talk to, go see, go experience. And this next, today's guest is going to be a little bit hard to miss because they're kind of one of those ubiquitous names that happens to be in almost every booth, it seems, and that's Kaleidescape. And today we're talking to Floyd with Kaleidescape. How's it going, Andre?
Good, Travis. Thanks for having me. Looking
Absolutely.
forward to it.
Kaleidescape is always a big undertaking, or excuse me, CEDIA is always a big undertaking for Kaleidescape because you have a very large presence. You have a lot of units on the floor at this show. How many do you have this year?
So it's hard to actually count them up because a lot of them are now owned by the companies that use them because over time they used to borrow them 5 years ago, and then over time started to realize it was worth having the units around to do demos all year round, to do training and so forth. But right now we know of at least 47 different companies that will be using Kaleidescape in their demonstrations. And obviously some of those demonstrations consist of multiple companies working together in a theater presentation. But there's 47 companies that I've worked with to get equipment set up for.
Why does everyone use a Kaleidescape for this show? What is it about the Kaleidescape that these companies want to use this as opposed to discs or streaming?
So Kaleidescape is going to provide you the best quality video and audio that you can get for home use anywhere. And so CEDIA is obviously a home theater show. It's not a DCI kind of presentation. And so that's the products and the applications that everybody is showing their products for. And so they want to show their stuff off to make it look and sound as good as it possibly can. And the thing that you need to do to make a display look great or an audio system sound great or speakers sound great is you need to have the best quality content. And Kaleidescape, our Strato system, is the only way or the best way that you can provide that best video and audio.
Not to mention how easy it is to create, essentially you can create a playlist in Kaleidescape and just say, play these 5 clips. You can customize the clips themselves. It's really, really slick, and it's just perfectly created for demoing a theater that you're trying to sell, but also, having friends over and creating that playlist at home and showing off your theater, every time you run your Kaleidescape. It's not a dealer only feature.
Yeah, it's another thing that, even when I worked at Sony, we used Kaleidescape players to demonstrate it, which Sony still does, as a lot of other people, just because, the only way to do pretty high quality demonstrations before was to bring a Blu-ray player and
Mm-hmm.
have that and have your stack of discs, and you bring the disc and you want to show people a set of scenes to demonstrate the different qualities of your products. And
Right.
so you put in one disc and you wait for the FBI warning to play and then try and skip through the coming attractions and then try and skip up to the particular part of that movie that you wanted to show. And then
Right.
you showed that and talked about it, took that disc out and did the process all over again. And with Kaleidescape, our scripting feature makes it very easy for people to be able to take clips that either the ones that we've pre-created that we send with all of our content has clips already built in them, or you can build your own. You mark an in and out point anywhere, and you can use those clips in a script. And so you can create a script of the scenes that you want to use for your demo and just really easily click through them. And like you said, it's not just for dealers, it's also something that you can do at home because you want to
Mm-hmm.
have friends over, you want to show them the cool scenes from your favorite movies. And so just put it together into a demo script for your friends.
It is a really slick feature, and like so many things about the Kaleidescape and some other devices that we're putting into our home theaters, just the ease of use and the ability to just go select the script that you want, which for those who don't know, script is essentially, it's a Spotify playlist. It's a it's a mixtape. It's that It's the demo reel. It's the greatest hits compilation, as you will. So you just select it, hit play, and it does all the work for you.
Yeah, and it's great for demos because you can set it up to stop after each one so that you can talk about what the next
Mm-hmm.
thing that you're going to see and why a given sound system is great with this particular thing or something like that.
Right. So let's talk about the hardware itself. I, I'm going to ask eventually today if there's anything new that you're going to be showing, but there's new stuff. You guys have kind of been releasing new players fast and furious this year already. We'll talk about the new players you've released just in the last, since last year at CEDIA.
Yeah, so last year, the big news at CEDIA was the Strato V, which was our foray back into a standalone player for people who wanted to just have a player at a reasonable entry level price that included some storage. So you didn't need to network it, a player to a server.
Right.
And so what we did since then, and so the things that are kind of new in the last couple of months, is introduce two other players, the Strato E and the Strato M player, which uh, for the for the most part, in terms of operation and picture quality and audio quality, they are identical to the Strato V.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is one thing is physical, that the form factor of Strato E and M is smaller. And so Strato V comes in that anodized case, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier. It's heavy duty. It's extremely high quality. So that's still our flagship player. But in order to get even into a more entry level atmosphere, we introduced the Strato E and Strato M, which is built on a metal, like a stamped steel case, and so it's a little bit smaller also. So it is a thing that's great for dealers or
Mm-hmm.
for anybody to you can, once you've loaded your movies on it for the weekend, you can take it camping basically. So
Right.
it extremely portable. And the other difference with the Strato E and M is that while the Strato V holds uh, is about 1 terabyte of storage and holds about a dozen 4K movies or more if they're HD concerts and things, the Strato E and M have just under a 0.5 terabyte of storage. So you're going to get about a half dozen movies on it. But they all use the same paradigm that we introduced last year, in that once you play a movie, it automatically becomes a candidate for deletion. So as you purchase and queue more movies, as
Mm-hmm.
you need more space, it knows to just roll those other ones off. They go effectively back into the cloud, and so they're there. You can re-download them anytime, but you don't have to think about, well, I want to watch this new movie that just came out. What movies am I gonna do I have to delete from there? That the system takes care of that automatically for you.
Nice. Is the new form factor of the E and M, is this kind of where Kaleidescape, I mean, obviously the V is still in production. It's not a outdated model at all, but is this something we can expect to see more of, this new form factor, or will we see both form factors going forward? Or?
Yeah, both will continue. It's just creating a stratified set of of options for people to get into the Kaleidescape platform. But the Strato V said maintains the classic cast aluminum casing,
Mm-hmm.
and so we've got mounts for that match it up with a Strato or a Terra server. So the compact Terra server and the Strato V fit nicely in a single rack space. But we also have new rack mounts for the E and M, so that is a faceplate that also makes them look very nice in your rack, and you can do two of those side by side as well.
Is the C still in production?
C is absolutely still in production, and so we continue to sell that as well. The C doesn't come with any storage, so you need to have some sort of Terra server as part of your system to use the C. But the C still does provide one key thing, which is that it has dual HDMI outputs. So if for any of a number of reasons you need to separate your video and audio paths, that you can, Strato C provides that capability. So that's the thing. Strato V has fewer connections, and the Strato E and M have even fewer connectors. So it's obviously they're simplified.
Right.
But one of the key things also I wanted to make sure is that about the V, E, and M is that they added Dolby Vision capability.
Right.
So
And all three of the new models have Dolby Vision.
correct.
Um, one of the, not the V, the, I believe it's the M, is the 2K version.
Correct. Yeah. So the Strato M, the idea of that is, the least expensive player in our product lineup. And it's one way that if you just want to get into the Kaleidescape world and, maybe you don't have that big of a TV, but you love movies, you want to be able to access them easily and be able to download stuff and have the interface and all the benefits of Kaleidescape, but, want to do it at the least cost of entry. So the
Mhm.
Strato M will output at 1080p, basically 2K 1080p. Audio is still losslessly uncompressed, so that's the
Mhm.
same. And the Strato M actually uses the same file. So you download the same 4K files, it's just the output. And so the idea is either an entry level player, but it's also an ideal player for somebody who wants to add zones to their home. So,
Mhm.
that in a lot of bedrooms, you've got a TV, but it's probably not an 85-inch TV, right? It's going to be smaller and it's across the room. It's, 10 feet away on a 55 or 65-inch TV. You're more than three picture heights. So your eye can't resolve more, 4K detail so that the HD and 4K image are going to look exactly the same. So that's the premise. So you can use this. It's a little bit lower cost to get additional zones in a home too.
Right. And does that maintain, because to also clarify, when you're on the Kaleidescape store, the HDR10 version and the Dolby Vision version are separate files. They're separate downloads. So does the M maintain the Dolby Vision uh, data when it sends it to the TV? Then apparently, the
It
display.
actually does.
Okay.
Yep. So that if you have a TV that is a Dolby Vision TV, even though the resolution is going to be lower, you're still going to get Dolby Vision or HDR imagery. And one of the other things that is cool about the M actually is because we're starting with 4K file, which is 8 million pixels, but we are in the player downsizing it to HD resolution, that the 8 million pixels all have 420 or 422 color information. But because we are, it starts with 420 color information, but because we're using fewer of those pixels, we can take that color information from the pixels we're not using it and apply it to the ones that we are outputting. So we're going to actually output the content at 422 color space so that you're getting better quality than you would get from a Blu-ray disc because there is more color information in the signal that we're outputting.
Very nice. Um, so 47 options to see content playing from a Kaleidescape at CEDIA, but there's one stop that you're going to need to make, and that is the Kaleidescape booth, the Kaleidescape setup. Always a fun place, always has a nice display, always has a lot of great clips, great people to talk to outside. What's the new? What's the big announcement at CEDIA? Is there going to be anything, or is this you're not going to be able to tell me thing?
We don't have any announcement planned, so that's another thing that we've introduced the products, so they're out in the world now. So that this is the chance, though, for a lot of people to get to see them for the first time and see the operation of and how they look separately. So the Kaleidescape booth will be similar to last year. We're closer to the front of the hall. We're basically right in the next aisle back from the one against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So come in the main door, go 20 feet and turn right, and we'll be right down there, right behind Sony, right across from the Harman booth. And so our booth, the front of it is an 18-foot wide LED wall from Quantum Media Systems. It is the best video wall that I've seen, and that's how they ended up on our booth a couple of years ago. As I had seen at CD a few years ago, was walking across the floor and just this one video wall caught the corner of my eye
Mm-hmm.
because it didn't have the super iridescent colors. and it had great great resolution, and just looked like the way you want to see movies in your
Sure.
home. And so we worked with them, and they've been providing this video wall for us for the last few years. And so huge, fabulous looking LED wall, supported by a Meyer sound system with a 3.2 system, just because we're not in a closed room, so we're not trying to create any pressure or anything. We just want people to get the sound of the movie, and so you can watch. We'll have a big loop of scripts of a script that loops a big list of movie scenes and concert scenes that you can come and check out. And then on the two sides of that display are two 98-inch Sony TVs, and also flanked with a pair of Meyer speakers. But on one side, we'll have the Strato M player. The other side will have the Strato E player. So you'll be able to actually go in and hold a remote if you want, or one of our team will do that for you and basically walk you through what the interface is, how it
Hmm.
looks, and so you can see for yourself. If you haven't had the chance to see either of those players.
Excellent. Yeah, and it's a one thing about the Kaleidescape interface in general is it's kind of fun. It the shuffle feature on the video wall, and actually that would bring up another quick question: is on the sides here with the smaller TVs that are showing the E and the M, will they be connected to a Terra server, or will they be standalone and showing the more streamlined interface that those devices have?
Yeah, we will show those in standalone, because if we
Okay,
didn't show them in standalone, they're going to look exactly as the same as the one on
sure.
the front screen. So this way, you'll see the trim down interface, which is designed, as you said. We made it simpler because since the players only hold a finite number of movies, that if you had the box covers view, it's going to just show repeating movies across
Yeah.
the screen, and that would just look silly. And so it uses a collections view paradigm. So there are several rows that are baked into those players. So the first one is always going to be the movie store. So that's going to show you, make it easy to go in and buy new movies.
Hmm.
But we also always show on the top of there whatever the top three or four movies that are selling right now over the last 48 hours. So that's, it helps you to discover, say, what is, you sort of know what's new, because
Hmm.
all of the Kaleidescape owners, see what's new, and they go and buy something that's either a brand new title that just came out, or it's something that's new to Kaleidescape, or it's just new in 4K. And
Hmm.
so you'll see those pop up. Makes it easy to say, oh, something must have happened. I should go, and
Sure.
that looks like the movie I've been waiting to see in higher resolution. And then below that, we've added a new row that is something new that people may not have seen before the show, but it's our Discover row.
Hmm.
And what this is it's a row of titles that are in your collection. They're movies that you own, but it's just a randomized set of titles, because once you start to collect a lot of movies, you don't ever go all the way through the whole list all the time and remember stuff that you have. And so this will just sort of put ones up there that you haven't thought about it in a while. Just, oh, here's something I haven't
Hmm.
thought about, but I love that movie. Why don't I watch that tonight? And then, yeah, then you got rows for your new and your pause and your played collection.
Can we get the Discover feature for the Strato C and the Terra and all the others? Because that's actually when we're choosing a movie, sometimes I do find myself at the bottom of our 500 movie library. Would love that. Hey, you haven't interacted with this title for a while, somehow to pop up, or prioritize in the standard UI for when you have everything downloaded.
I am actually checking. Yeah, so that actually it is in the available on the Strato C, like in a grouped system. It's in the collections. If you go to the collections view,
Oh,
then it is there just like on the other one. So the collections view is now on the main system, is looking like the collections view, like the regular view is on the newer players.
okay. Yeah, I do know. I do know that they just rolled out. or they're starting to roll out a software update for current owners. So is that something that's new in there, or is it just something that I've never noticed?
No, that's what is new. So
Okay.
that's not something that will be new a month from now, but we just announced it yesterday. I think
Right.
people should have gotten an email about it, any owners and dealers about that. And it's a couple of new features that are available. One of them is this Discover Row. So if you don't get to check it out before you get to the show, we'll have it in the booth.
Awesome. Yeah. Always, that's one thing, is that it's constant updates. I think at least a couple times a year, it seems like the system is getting an update and adding new features or new capabilities, and it's always fresh. It's not like, and I've had my player for a few years now, and it's never end of life.
No, we aim for two or three major updates a year that add major features, and of course, that as other things come up or bug fixes and so forth, that we'll roll those out in between.
Nice.
But it's typically major ones, and so yeah, this is a 10.22. So it started rolling out last week, and so it will eventually get to all of the Kaleidescape owners by the end of this month.
Very good. Anything else we should know about coming to see you guys at CEDIA? What's the secret password to get the special tour of the booth? You said Meyer Sound and Sony displays and the quantum LED wall. Um, are you working with the same audio processor company that you've used there in the past?
Absolutely. So each of those three systems is all driven by a Trinnov Altitude 16 processor. And so the Meyer speakers are self-powered. So we're using the processor to make sure that we get the best possible sound that we can, considering an open show floor.
Right on. Okay, so 47 options to see a Kaleidescape. What are Andre Floyd's top 5 go to? If your time at the show is limited, what 5 would you make sure to hit?
So yeah, that's is the main thing, is that there's so many. Anybody who's doing a video or high-end audio presentation is going to be using Kaleidescape
Mm.
to drive it, and most of the time that's pretty obvious when you're watching their demos. But if you want to be able to see just a great overall presentation, there are a few theaters. So some of them are in the sound room, some are in booths. So L Acoustics has a booth 4025 that is going to be a fantastic theater, showing off some new innovation that they've just introduced on the audio side, and that's going to be using a Barco projector. We'll have StormAudio, a MadVR processor, and a Stewart film screen. So I expect that's going to be a beautiful theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested because that one's not in a sound room. So the sound rooms are great, but they're limited in some ways, and so
Sure.
so it's great when you do your own booth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Along those lines, also is Quantum's display. So aside from putting an 18-foot wall in our booth, they have at least an 18-foot wall down in meeting room 207, so down on the lower
Mm-hmm.
level. It's a big room that they do ongoing presentations throughout the show. So you just need to check their schedule and see when you want to sit in for the whole thing. But so they've got beautiful LED wall, but it's in a room where they can turn off the lights, make it perfectly dark, and they've got a TPI speaker system with Storm processors, and so it's going to be a full surround theater experience, and so that's is really impressive. And I don't know for sure, but last year they were. I imagine they'll do the same thing. That because they are also DCI qualified, they also show the capability of showing DCI content. So if you are
Right.
on the Bel Air circuit or something, and you want to, you're able to get that content also from studios, that you can use one display and be able to see that all, instead of having to have your 35 millimeter projector and
Right.
your other projector there for it. So so that's is an awesome display, driven by our product as well. Um, I've seen a couple of articles recently about the $1 million home theater that's going to be part of Sound Room 7. Um, that's going to feature a Seymour-Screen excellent screen, also StormAudio processing, Ascendo uh, subwoofers and speakers that always sound impressive.
Hmm.
That's going to use a Christie Eclipse G3 projector. So Christie is looking to move into bigger into residential
Hmm.
now. So it'll be interesting to see that as something that's more focused to the CEDIA environment versus taking a
Right.
true cinema projector and trying to bring it in. And it'll also have a MadVR NV as well.
Hmm.
And they're going to be showing a Panamorph lens, which is something that we haven't seen a lot of in the last couple of years, is anamorphic lenses. But
Yeah.
that there are people like anamorphic lenses for the ability to take the extra light that comes out of a 16:9 screen and get it onto a 240 or other aspect ratio format.
That's one
So
that's on
that'll
my
be
wish list, is an anamorphic lens. It's one of the last steps before I have maximized my room.
okay. Um, and then Epson's got a theater, which I think is going to be interesting, specifically for the CEDIA channel too, because they also just announced the other day I think it's a $4,000 projector that is, very high quality picture, high brightness,
Hmm.
that it exposes 8 million pixels on the screen, so it gives you all the 4K resolution. But at that price point, they're actually showing it as part of what they're calling the 25K theater. So this is a theater that you can all in put together a really nice presentation at home for a reasonable price in
Yeah.
CEDIA language. Um, So those are the ones I know the most about. JVC Kenwood also has a demonstration that's going to show off their projector, which is the DLAN Z900. We'll also have a new motorized Stewart screen with Martin Logan audio. So, that's is another set of manufacturers maybe we haven't seen together before. So I think that'll be really interesting to see.
Right.
And then Ascendo, aside from just walking by that 5 foot tall speaker, it's cool to hear what their stuff looks like. And Storm, uh, their demonstration in their sound room is going to totally blow you away as well.
Right. And you also have a Strato V in with Lumagen, Seymour, next level acoustics, and that in that group in Sound Room 11.
Yep.
That'll be another one it's another one with maybe a slightly smaller price tag that should be fun to check out. Some brands that maybe haven't historically had the larger presence at CEDIA, and that's also with Trinnov. So
Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of great things to see. That's why
yeah,
it's worth coming to the show and walking the floor and seeing the demos. Some of them have long lines to get into. So if you want to pull all your contacts and do what you can to shortcut some of those lines, but it's very cool to see them.
the Kaleidescape booth, however, never a line. Always just a big crowd. You can see from wherever you are. You don't have to wait for them to open the door.
No, that's what we used to. We had done some theater demonstrations to try and show off what the capabilities of our interaction with control systems and so forth. But what Taylor really wants to do is just be big and loud on the show floor so that everybody sees what the quality of pictures look like on a great screen that's huge with a nice powerful sound system that can
Absolutely.
blow people away even on a show floor thing. And one of the cool things that we're going to do in our booth is actually for people who maybe have seen it over the past year, this home theaterology coffee table book
Yeah.
that Rich Charshin and a number of the industry luminaries are a part of. So Rich will actually be in our booth on Thursday afternoon from 2:30 to 3:30 signing copies of that book. I got my signed copy last year, which is exciting. I think you want to get your copy, and then there's a lot of other people that like John Bishop and and Joel Silver and stuff that are part of that. So you can go around and get them to sign your book. It's kind of like being at Disney, taking your autograph book. Get it?
Like your yearbook. Will
Yeah.
you sign my yearbook? Yeah, I pre-ordered that book when it came out last year. About this time last year, I think they were getting ready to
Yep.
launch it at CEDIA last year. So very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm also looking forward to it as well. I didn't get to attend last year, so I'm excited to get back there and catch up with everyone. See you guys, and I will come and see you, and I'll bring my camera and talk to you at the booth, and you can show me when we're there what you got going on.
It'll be great to show you around. I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, everyone, again, if you're going to be in Denver next month for CEDIA, you're gonna see Kaleidescape, but you should definitely take note and make it out to their booth, make it to some of these top tier sound room and displays, and just check out just the quality and the magic that Kaleidescape can bring to your theater. I've been enjoying mine. It's nice, it's convenient, it's fast, and it's high quality. So that's all for today's conversation, and we'll be back with a few more of these interviews. We want to give everyone the nice preview of what's going to happen at CEDIA this year, and help you create your checklist for who to go see. So take care, and we'll see you again real soon.